Okay, it is Monday, December 4th. It is actually 5:58. And I'm going to call to order. Present, Renee O'Donnell, Brian Carlisle, Stanley Skip Smith, and Cindy Grant. We are all here. We have a public comment period. You guys have any public comments? Linda,
The Mudgett Road sign, it's been down for 3 months now. It's kind of a safety issue. On the Route 9 end, 3 months, no Mudgett Road sign.
Okay.
And the generator up at the firehouse, the cover is not on the generator.
I'll let Ralph handle that. I don't.
Yep, I was made aware of it today, so
Okay.
we're gonna get that fixed.
Okay. Anything else, Linda?
Yeah, a couple of 3 months ago, I've been out vacationing. There was some talk about some donations for the little boy on the Lindsay Road that got hurt. Did anything ever come of that?
What do you mean donations?
Well, you had said at the meeting, I think it was back in August, that people had been bringing things in to donate towards a rummage sale or a yard sale or something.
We haven't done it yet, no.
Okay, so you've still got a bunch of stuff? or-
Mhm.
Oh, okay. And the other two things, how many licensed rescue people are there now?
4.
4?
Yes.
Could I have their names?
Well, okay.
Gordon?
Is there an issue with that, Linda?
No, I just wondered how many I saw on here ambulance purchase, and I just wondered how many rescue people we had to man an ambulance.
So the answer is 4.
Yeah.
Okay, the names?
It's myself, your daughter, Chief Shaw, and Tom Robinson.
Okay. And how many firemen?
There are no fire, oh, I'm sorry. Not on my division, there are no firefighters.
We're at roughly 9 right now. I've got 8 active, and I got 1 that I'm processing, and I got 2 that are waiting for applications.
They're what?
He's got 9. 8 are active, 1 is processing, 2 are waiting for applications.
Okay, so if there's a fire call tomorrow, how many do you have to go? I guess that's what active.
8.
2 are waiting for applications though, so that's out of 9, that's 7. Okay. And the other thing I'd like to know is on the warrants, I would like to know who they were to and on each one of the warrants. As you go down through, you're going to go down through them and sign them, $4,546.33 to who?
I'm not reading the warrants here. You can read the warrants out there. Well, when I read PY warrant number 46 for the total amount, they are right out there in the front office reviewable. I'm not going down through every warrant.
Really?
Really?
Well, you might want to go back through the minutes because there was a rule passed a couple of years ago, 3 years ago maybe, that all warrants would be read with the amounts.
That was
and
with the
was
previous,
paid.
I think that was the previous board when,
Did you change it?
I don't believe there's a rule or an ordinance in
No,
place, is
there
there? I
isn't,
think it's
no.
just personal choice of the board.
Yeah.
So if
Yes.
anybody wants to know what all these warrants were, they have to come in.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there isn't any
There's a
really.
book right on that front counter. I mean, you could, Brett Lou would
But
come in.
you're
and sit
here,
down and
you're
look at it.
signing them, and you can't explain what they're for?
We all read them, they're right here.
You don't read who they're for?
No, I don't read who they're for in the meeting, and I'm not going to read who they're for in the meeting.
You sure?
That's part of the warrant.
We had a discussion this summer at a meeting that another lady asked if we could read them, and there was, I don't remember how many people were at the meeting, but general consensus was nobody wanted to sit here and listen to every warrant, and it was said at that time, if you want to know what all the warrants are, go into the town office and then bring it out the
Right,
next meeting.
basically the cover sheet that you
Mhm.
print out is right here in a
There's a
notebook, am I
book, and
correct?
photocopied and put in the book.
Okay, okay.
I don't want to sit here and listen to all the
Right.
warrants, I guess is what I'm saying.
Okay.
So if anybody wants to see what's being
If you want to delve
$4,540.
into the warrant in a
No,
more.
not me, I'm saying anybody else. If anybody wants to know what these warrants are,
Yeah.
they have to physically come into the office to get them.
Yeah,
Physically come in to get them.
yeah.
They're not part of
Suppose
the
if they had a
public.
physical challenge, then.
You're here once a month to do this. Okay, I just want to make sure it's on the tape that this is what you're saying when I show it
It's
to some
exactly
other
what I'm
people.
saying, Linda. I'm
Okay.
very comfortable with what I'm saying. I'm not reading every item on every warrant. If somebody really wants to investigate a warrant, if they have concerns, those warrants are public knowledge. They're in a notebook in the front office all the time,
Okey dokey.
okay? They could come in and make copies and take them home if they wanted to, I'm
At
assuming.
50 cents a copy.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Okay,
Us
anything
who pay
else?
your salary.
Anything else?
No,
Okay, so, speaking of warrants, we're gonna go through the warrants. Warrants, you guys all set? We don't have any extras or anything.
I think that
We've
last
got-
motor vehicle one,
46 through
Um,
52.
it's 53.
So you've got a 53.
It was our monthly reports this morning,
Okay.
and it's warrant 53,
Is it AP or?
AP, yep,
AP. AP number 53.
for $1,876.95.
Okay. So, I make a motion that we, for PY warrant number 46. Can you just not talk while I'm trying to talk? Thank you. PY warrant number 46 for $4,546.36. AP warrant number
33.
47 for $5,667.44. AP warrant number 48 for $741 even. AP warrant number 49 for $501.50. PY warrant number 50 for $4,021.80. AP warrant number 51 for $8,103.66. PY warrant number 52 for $1,076.50. And AP warrant number 53 for $1,876.95. I'd like to make a motion that we accept the warrants as read. All in favor? Okay. All right, so no minutes, no agenda adjustments. Fire Chief Shaw, how are you, Ralph?
Too bad.
Good.
Fire
Fire-
department ran 16 calls last month. The trucks responded, the members responded. They were multiple, we had some in Dixmont, some in Carmel.
Right.
Had quite a few of the first, right after that windstorm. They ran 8 one day, they ran 3 the following day, and then we had a Belton fire as a result of the power coming back on.
Oh,
It was just different CO calls and that sort of thing. Like we said before, we're running at 8 members. I got 1 processing. I have 2. I'm gonna meet with 1 tomorrow night for an application. The other one hasn't got back to me yet, but on a time to meet.
Yep.
We've been doing joint trainings with the Carmel Fire over in Carmel on a burn house that they have over there. And we're currently having meetings and trainings every Tuesday night, so.
Okay. Wonderful. You guys got any questions for?
Best
What's that?
thing we ran.
So I did miss I don't know if you saw it, we did apply for the forestry grant as well,
Yes.
for 4 pagers and 2 handheld radios.
Okay.
That was received, we're just waiting to hear whether we get it or not. That'll probably be another month or so before we
Okay.
get the confirmation on that end of it. So,
Awesome.
other than that, I got some good.
Okay. How about rescue? How are you, Chris?
I'm well, thank you.
Good.
In the month of November, we were dispatched to 7 calls. We responded to 5 of them. So tomorrow, taking the truck in for the commercial inspection to be completed on Wednesday, and I'll certainly report back the results of that. When we receive them, it's going to Bangor Auto and Truck, which is the place that has completed maintenance on the vehicle since Newburgh acquired it from its previous owner. We're waiting on the remainder of the turnout gear from Fire Decks for the 2 sets of gear we bought in October. That's a custom-made thing, so it takes time for production and things like that to receive that. We placed some advertisements on Facebook for EMTs and firefighters. I've received a few responses from it, and Chief Shaw has received responses from it as well. I think that actually he's meeting with somebody from that. So that's a free outlet, and we've gotten quite a reach with that. So we're hoping that continues, that people will still reach out to us and will want to join up the department. And we currently have 2 members on leave of absence, which provide the 4 EMS providers information that I provided earlier.
Okay.
Can I ask, is that on the town Facebook page? Like, so I can share it?
It's on the Newburgh Fire and Rescue page.
Newburgh Fire and Rescue
Yeah.
page? Okay.
Thank you. Yes, and if anybody else wants to share it on their Facebook, that'd be greatly appreciated.
Okay. Gary's not here, obviously.
No, he said he was coming, I don't know, something must have come up.
Okay. All right, so I'm sure the library's just fine.
Yes.
Town manager.
I don't have too much. Scott Preston's supposed to be here too, so
Yeah.
called him yesterday and reminded him, but, no, I don't have, too much. I put it all down below, so.
Okay. Cemetery committee's fine. Roads, I'll make a note that the budget road sign, can you call somebody?
Chris and I, we went around, Chris and I went around, 2 weeks ago. We went around and did a sign assessment. We've got a big order of signs because a lot of our signs are not up to code.
Okay.
He called down to get a sample of the signs from Penobscot's doing them now, so they're a lot cheaper.
Okay.
We'll have to buy poles and stuff from White Signs, but, and Budget Road is one of the ones on there. So along with numerous others, we went on every road in town and cleaned the Dixmont, Carmel, Line, Hamden, all the different ones. So those are all, once we get it all together, we'll, get them all up and all that, so.
Do you remember,
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember, it was quite some time ago, previous board spoke with Scott Preston about doing some fulfilling the, putting gravel on the Delia Farm Road on the sides?
On the, shimming the sides of the road.
Yes, yeah.
And he said there was some put on. All they agreed to do was just to pull from the sides, but I'd wait and ask him when he comes.
Yeah.
Because I've mentioned it a couple of times, especially when they did the culvert. So when he comes to ask about the plow truck, I'd ask him about it.
Because I think that's something that he and Buddy discussed
Yeah.
back in the previous board.
Yeah. Has anybody called you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there trouble up there or anything?
No,
Oh, the
Buddy
ditches.
happened to mention to it,
Oh.
mentioned it when I saw him.
Okay, so I'm gonna skip over Scott and see if he shows. How about the school referendum?
Well, this is new. I went to a meeting the other day at this school, Angus and I did, for them,
Did you give us something for that?
I did, there's a page that says municipal bond bank
Okay.
at the top of them, referendum town
Oh, right there.
timeline.
Okay. Yeah.
This is what they gave us at the thing, and I had explained to them, that we were in the process of possibly doing a special town meeting for some items. So this kinda puts us at a spot where, you know, we can do it along with them in February, or try to do a separate one, which is,
So they're gonna do,
their February 6th is their referendum.
okay.
And I have not heard from the planning board whether the land use is ready or not, so I'm assuming they're gonna wait until June. But they're going to referendum to, request permission for a bond bank loan. Excuse me.
The school district, the school board is?
Yep. They, want money to, replace their turf field at the high school. And, let me grab all my paperwork.
I'm
But,
way out of the loop. Is the turf gone back?
yeah, it's old and it needs
They said it's
replacing.
14 years.
Yeah,
It only goes 8 to 10.
yeah. I mean, it's nothing that they did, they just,
Right.
you know, it's something that they were left with, so their plan is to do this bond bank thing and do it for an amount of time and then start a replacement field, because that field's gonna have to be replaced every 8 to 10 years. So then they don't have to go get a loan anymore, they can just start an account and replace it.
Right.
It is very well used, it's one of very few in the area, I guess. Hudson has one, University of Maine
It
has
was a
one.
big deal when they installed it.
Yeah.
My kids were, our kids were in school. We were
Yeah.
Still in school when that went down, when they redid the whole place down
Yeah.
there. The
So-
Patriots guys came up and looked at it and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so, they're gonna go to referendum to authorize the main bond bank loan, so, so if you wanna do, my thought is to possibly do Tracy's ordinance and the rescue trucks and the cannabis farming ordinance, if you wanted to, that same time.
Okay. All right.
But that would make it necessary, we'll have to have a public meeting 30 days in advance of that, correct?
Yes, and we have plenty of time.
Okay.
Yes, but the public hearing, 44 days prior, the public hearing can be, I did print that out. Let's see. The requirements of public hearing is not pre-requisite or obligation of the municipality, okay? I should have highlighted that instead of having to read through it all again. At least 7 days before the date set for the hearing, the municipal officer shall give notice of a public hearing. So we need to have it 7 days, I think 7 days before, or 10 days before, and then we need to notify 7 days before the hearing. So,
Say that one more time, you have to have the, physically have the public hearing when? 10 days
I
before?
believe it's 10 days, but let me look. Just to make sure. Municipal officer shall hold a public hearing on the subject of the article at least 10 days before the day of the voting. And then at least 7 days prior to that, we need to have a public hearing. And we need to notify of the public hearing at least 7 days prior to the public hearing.
So it's February 5th, is that what they're saying? Is it gonna vote? It's 6th, a Tuesday. So can we have a public hearing the fourth week of January?
Fourth week of January, that's not 17 days, or 10 days.
Can we go a
right?
little bit early, can we, well,
Oh, I see
this
what you're saying.
area, right here. So it'd be 1, 2,
So-
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days, 10 working days is January 19th. Does it mean 10 calendar days?
No, it's just 10 days.
It's just 10
There's
days.
no,
So it can be just 10
so we
calendar
need,
days.
we
So
need
there's
17, 7, 7,
5.
14.
7 is 20. So you can have it like the 23rd, 24th, it's right in there,
Of,
January.
yeah, I'm thinking. 6, 1, 2, that's 5.
Cindy, if for any reason you want me here for that, I will be gone. I'll be gone January 20th to the 27th.
Okay, so, but
As
you'll
far
be
as the
here
food referendum.
February 6th, right?
Yes, I'll
Yeah,
be
but
back.
if there's a public
by then,
meeting,
but-
she's gonna have to,
A
And
public
then-
hearing. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
and
right.
somebody else will have to be up on this.
Okay. Because I think I'll be here then,
When's that?
that time frame.
January
That 4th week, the last 2 weeks of January.
22nd through the
And this-
26th?
This is not all that complicated as far
Mhm.
as if somebody else wanted to
Mm-hmm.
read up on it. As
Okay.
far as-
What we could do is kind of have a conversation about it before you go.
Yeah,
Okay.
because most of it is copied from other towns anyway.
So the 22nd through the 26th, you'll be here?
I'm hoping, yes, that's my plan.
Okay.
Can we don't have to verify it right now, but let's
Right,
put that in mind, because.
okay. So that's when the public hearing will be in that week? Sometime, yeah.
I'd probably be returning on the 23rd,
So the 23rd
and if you did it,
through the 26th.
I'll be home for 2 weeks.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just put that down and we can.
So do you want to do those, just those 3 things?
Yeah, I think that's fine. What do you guys think? About, doing those 3 items on the,
Oh, yeah, sure.
yeah, I think we just go ahead and,
We'll just go ahead and do it.
so we would do a public hearing and then there would be a referendum vote on February 5th.
Ballot, yeah.
Ballot vote. Excuse me, I keep saying 5th. Sorry.
so to
Yeah.
piggyback it with that, we won't have to,
You don't have to do
have
2.
a,
Yep.
Okay.
The 45-day mark,
That's only for land use.
oh, okay.
And I don't think the land
That
use is
wasn't
gonna
it.
be ready.
Right, the land use isn't gonna be ready.
Okay.
will the marijuana thing be?
Was,
That's right around the corner.
Yeah.
right, because December 17th is 50 days from that date.
Mm-hmm. So,
Is this sample of this marijuana ordinance, is this is it?
this is what MMA recommends, if this is what you're going to do.
Okay.
I put
That's
it
just
with-
the retail part of it, though.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's what we just don't, we're trying to really limit the retail part, correct?
Exactly,
Yeah.
yes.
I mean, we had that, we had a person, just so you all know, we had a person come and inquire about farming here in Newburgh. And, had done her homework. They're looking for a town to, raise cannabis in, but not process it. And correct me if I'm wrong. They were going to basically raise it. They weren't doing the oils or anything like that. She was selling it to somebody who does process it.
She was gonna be a wholesale.
Right, she was a wholesale thing. She was gonna do cannabis and she was gonna do lavender. Is that what she said?
Lavender or garlic?
Lavender and garlic, some
Yeah.
other things that are in
Other of the herbs that they
big
use.
demand, I guess. So it's knocking on our door, basically, you know, it's coming. So we talked a little bit, we talked at great length that night about it, and just said, I guess my personal feeling is I don't mind, it's legal. I think we should have an ordinance addressing the retail part of it, retail stores, retail selling, clubs, that sort of thing. Farming is a whole different, I have a whole different feeling about farming. You know, it's our heritage, it's, you know, all that sort of thing, and that's gonna happen here sooner or later.
Are there state laws as to like the fencing and stuff they have to have, or the
I think so. She
security?
said there were 5 different kinds of licenses. It was
Okay,
pretty
so-
interesting,
So
actually.
the state already has that part of it taken care of.
And
as
she
far
said
as
that they
what
would
she
be
has to
fenced
apply.
in, they would have
Okay.
security, you know, all that stuff.
Odor control.
Yeah, odor control when they were drying.
Yep,
Um,
yeah, security.
And there were 5, wasn't it 5 different kinds of
There's
licenses?
5 different kinds of licenses and
But it's still a work in progress with the state too. that
Yes,
They've not finalized.
right. Well, if we adopt a marijuana ordinance that limits at least the retail outlets
Yes.
and shops and that sort of thing, you can always go back and amend this
Mhm.
to other
Right.
aspects of it,
Right.
you know.
But this was getting a jump on what the state requirements are for those 5 licenses, because they can't just go into any town and do this. They have
Right.
to have pre-approval from the town in order to do it.
Right.
And that's when it's our chance to regulate what comes in and what doesn't.
Right, right. So that's what sort of prompted us to try to be a little proactive with this kind of ordinance to regulate what lands out here, you know, that kind of thing. So this is the ordinance.
That's
Just
what
a
MMA
single
has
page.
on file, yes.
Okay.
And like Brian said, it can be amended at any time and.
Right, do we want, have you read it?
Yeah.
Have you read it? Have you read the marijuana ordinance?
Not completely.
All right. Do you want to, we don't have to accept it tonight, but we could do a quick meeting so that we're in line for a time frame. So we can do the, oh, I'm tired. So we can get on with the voting, the public hearing and everything. So that's the food sovereign. Do you want to speak on the food sovereignty ordinance?
Yeah.
We're on that topic.
Yeah, it's pretty quick. There's,
Okay.
so since I first proposed it this summer, the federal government has come back and they threatened the state to pull all their slaughterhouse licenses because the new food sovereignty law that the state came up with did not give the federal government the control they wanted over slaughterhouses. So they threatened to take it all. So there would be no slaughterhouses in the state of Maine. So the state had an emergency session in the end of October. They rewrote, they didn't act to amend the law recognizing local control regarding food systems and require compliance with federal and state food safety regulations. Basically, they removed meat and poultry from the food sovereignty ordinances.
Oh.
So, you cannot, and I'm not 100% positive what part of it, it says that all meat and poultry has to be processed through a state licensed facility.
Right.
Now, the way it was before is that in order to sell meat by the package, it had to be USDA certified. The food sovereignty law was going to remove that so you could sell meat by the package to anybody.
Oh, okay.
I do not know how that affects it now, because the only thing they're saying now is that all meat and poultry has to be processed through a state licensed facility. And I've looked and I can't find a difference. I think we need to probably talk to some other towns who might have already revamped this or already dealt with that part of it. So I could not address that, but The only things I changed from the ordinance I submitted in July is in the definitions, local food.
Mhm.
I changed that so that it now says local food means any food, and I added in parentheses excluding meat or poultry that is required to be processed in a state licensed slaughterhouse. So it just pulls that part of the meat and poultry out. It also removes farmers markets from this ordinance. So under section 5 of definitions, community social event, I took out the traveling food sale because you're limited to within your town, so I didn't want that to be confusing.
Okay.
So I just took that part out, and
And let me ask a foolish question here. If people wanted to start a farmer's market up here, like in our yard on every Friday, they would still have the right to do that.
they do, but farmers markets are under a different regulation than the food sovereignty.
Okay.
There's already a separate farmers market regulation, so
Okay.
they separated that from this.
Okay.
So they already fall under a different ordinance. I took out, when it refers to the different statutes, I took out the reference to Maine Revised Statute Title 7-A, Section 201A, because that was repealed
Okay.
on October 28th.
Okay.
And under section 5.1, licensure and inspections, I took farmer's market out of what is not subject to licensing and inspection, because farmer's markets are not included in this. So I really made very few changes. I took out farmer's market, I took out traveling food sale, I took out reference to the repealed article, and I redefined local food as accepting meat and poultry.
So we could take a couple of days and read this and go over this and the marijuana ordinance and do a quick early morning meeting just for these two items if you guys want to. Or are you comfortable with just accepting it as written?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the new law, the new
Okay.
state law. That's just a copy of it, that
Okay.
made it on the 28th.
Okay. So,
I think it basically was the fact that the federal government did not want to relinquish their control over meat inspection.
right,
And that's what
Yes.
was going to happen with this new law. I believe the state inspectors also act on behalf of the federal inspectors, so federal government said to the state, if you're not gonna do it, we're gonna do it.
Mhm.
So I think the state agreed to implement their inspection systems again.
Okay.
Well, they always had their inspection system.
Right.
The state was never gonna do away with theirs, but in order to make the state comply with what the federal government wanted, the federal government said, we're gonna take your inspection rights and make it everything federal if you don't fix that law. So,
Okay.
they were using their power to get what they wanted.
Okay. So let me ask the question clearly. Are you comfortable accepting this ordinance, the food sovereignty ordinance as it's written, or do you want any time to really read it, or?
No, I mean,
We've
kind
read
of
it.
formed my opinion on it. I just concerned in that I don't see how the state, being what they are, can just come in and take away a lot of the responsibility on sellers. You know, there's an awful lot to food safety, and by not having inspections, you sure open up a big can of worms.
Yeah.
But it's state law, so it's not anything that we're doing or
Right.
anything else.
Right.
And that ordinance was taken from, like 90% of the towns that have the food sovereignty ordinance, that's the one they have.
Okay.
I actually made that more specific
Okay.
at the time in the definitions. some of them were really vague, but that was the most specific one. And I just kind of made the definitions a little more specific, because it actually, the way that was originally written, would have allowed a full-on slaughterhouse without being inspected.
Right.
So, yeah, so I had tweaked it so you couldn't do that. It's all home-based processing. But, like I said, the only thing I don't know is the per pound, you know, if you want to sell by the package. Because that's always been a USDA, you had to be USDA approved to sell by the package. So,
Okay, so where do you want to go from here with this? Do you want to just accept these, or do you want to read them, read again, accept them both?
I'd say go with it.
You say go with it?
I would say,
I've read
go
them.
with I mean, I'm satisfied with the food sovereignty one. The cannabis one is awfully vague. I think it's gonna be tweaked some to apply to the town.
Okay.
Mhm.
So.
Unless you wanna deliberately leave it vague.
I don't want to deliberately leave it too vague. So what else should we include here? We have prohibition on retail marijuana establishments and retail marijuana social clubs. Retail marijuana establishments including retail marijuana stores, retail marijuana cultivation facilities, retail marijuana cultivation facilities. Is that what, that's not,
No, she's a wholesaler.
she's a wholesaler, okay. Retail marijuana products manufacturing facilities, retail marijuana testing facilities, and retail marijuana social clubs are expressly prohibited in this municipality. No person shall. What would you like to add to it, or see added to it?
Well, I don't know, some of the questions I had, and I realize you're really prohibiting most everything, that you have to reference age for any of this. Plus, I was also thinking too about, do we want to include this, the manufacturing or the wholesale part of this, or just stick with the retail? And with what's said tonight, I think we want to just stick with retail and allow some time to.
Yeah, I think I personally, my personal feeling on it is I would like to stick with the retail. If somebody wanted to come in and actually farm, I don't really have a problem with that, as long as they got their license and they have their stuff in order. But I think that we should kind of get something on the books so that, and
Oh, I agree
then
with that.
revisit it as the state moves forward with their convolution of decision-making and
Yeah.
stuff. You know, because, you know, it's legal, it's not legal, it's legal, it's not legal, and it's everywhere,
Do
you
you
know?
want me to maybe, not understanding, get in contact with that woman that came and seen us and forward this on to her and see what she thinks? And there was a couple of towns that she mentioned.
Yeah, I got a feeling we probably lost them. I mean, she was in a
Yeah,
hurry.
she
to-
was, yeah, but
to
there
get
may
an
be
answer.
others.
Yeah.
But that's fine with me.
I-
I mean, if we want to just focus on retail.
Because well, we have limited quite a bit, because she mentioned retail outlets, which we've done, retail stores. She mentioned the testing facilities, which we've listed in here. Social clubs, which we've listed in here. Product manufacturing, we've listed in here. The only thing we haven't listed in here, because there were 5 licenses, I keep saying that 5 licenses thing, I know, but I was trying to remember what they were for.
But she wasn't even sure, and she thought of the.
She had 3 of the 5,
Yeah,
didn't she?
yeah.
I just think that we should get this on the books so that somebody doesn't have the great idea of opening up a social club, a marijuana social club.
Or maybe getting this on the books now and.
Right, and then we can amend it.
Learn more about it and amend it in June.
Right.
can I ask, is that not something that would also have to go to the referendum? Would that be
Well, that's
a
why we
referendum?
want to accept it and get it onto the public hearing and then go to referendum.
Okay,
That's
we-
the whole point of this.
I got confused, okay.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about the wholesale ordinance But, so you're saying they're both gonna be on the referendum, but
Right,
they're
they're both,
separately?
right, both gonna be on the referendum listed separately. But we do not have a marijuana ordinance at all currently. And when this lady came and was really interested in coming out here to farm, we thought we better look at this. So
we'll-
this is
we'll
kind
have
of a pro-
wholesale, farming ordinance, and then we'll have a retail
Well, we could
ordinance.
amend this to include farming
Okay,
if we want to accept farming. I feel like we want to accept farming, okay? But this would prohibit the other stuff that we talked with her about, retail stores,
Social clubs.
social
right,
clubs.
but if you tie them together, then if people have two different feelings on wholesale farming versus retail, then they might vote one way or the other.
Right, that's why the farming's not in here.
It will be separate,
I think so.
okay.
In fact, if you would look at section 2,
Yeah.
like in the middle of that paragraph,
Right,
I'd like to see the retail marijuana products manufacturing facilities and retail marijuana testing facilities removed.
okay.
At least that way it would allow, you wouldn't have the confusion of manufacturing, testing. I mean, even she said that they'd probably have to test the quality of material.
Right, at their
before they-
site,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
We
So
just
we're
want to
rather than
eliminate
that-
the retail social
Right,
clubs and the
right.
retail
Yes.
stores.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Cindy, for the purpose in section 2 definitions, it should read, for the purpose, and correct me if I'm wrong here, of this ordinance, retail marijuana establishments, including retail marijuana stores, retail, no, we want to leave out retail marijuana
Yes.
cultivation, we want to leave that out.
Right.
We want to remove that. Remove retail marijuana cultivation. Remove retail marijuana products manufacturing facilities. Is that what you had?
Yeah, I just,
And the retail,
Testing.
and the retail testing, okay. So it should read including retail marijuana establishments to include retail marijuana stores and retail marijuana social clubs as are defined as set forth in the 7 MRSA 22442. Okay. Because, but she was saying they would just wholesale it, they test their product, and then they give it to somebody to,
Process for
Process
the
and
oils
produce.
and the, all
right,
that.
right, okay. So, if you guys want to meet again, we'd have to meet again to accept these, I'm assuming.
I got 'em. Yep.
Okay.
Has your moratorium run out that you had on marijuana? Didn't you put them,
we tried, but we weren't allowed to.
you were allowed?
Do you want to meet next week? Or you have to put out a notice for 7 days in advance, right, Cindy?
Either 7 days or just recess this meeting to another day.
Okay, so
7 days for what?
for
To post a new
to
meeting.
post a new meeting. So
Oh,
we
for us
could,
to-
we could recess this
Oh.
meeting and reopen it.
Right.
So we could address these two things, so we could
Yeah,
get them
yeah.
on that. What's good for you?
You want to do it next week, you say?
I could do it later this week, or I could do it next week. I don't have,
Let's go. Yeah, Wednesday, I think I can do it. That works for you guys.
like Wednesday, this Wednesday?
Yeah,
The
the
6th?
morning, do
Yeah.
the morning one with me.
Do you have anything going on this Wednesday?
I don't think so. I'll say no right now.
Okay, all right. We'll just do a half hour, 20-minute
Yeah.
meeting. Okay.
What time?
8
8 o'clock?
a.m.?
Mhm.
Is that 8 a.m. okay with you?
4,
Okay.
6 would be fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Why are you having a special town meeting?
We're not having a special town meeting, we're having a public hearing.
No, you've got on here special town meeting where you've got all of these things listed.
Well, it's not really gonna be a special town meeting, it's gonna be a public hearing, am I correct?
No, it's a special town meeting, but you have to
Yeah.
have a public hearing prior to the special town meeting, which will be the referendum voting on the 6th.
Oh,
We
so
could
the-
do it by written ballot.
So the meeting will be the referendum,
Exactly,
that
yes.
day of the referendum,
Yes.
8 AM to 8 PM?
Yes.
Okay. So the public hearing, did you get that?
Oh, I get that, why are we doing it now? If you're going to have a town meeting in June, is any of these things stuff that can't hold off until June?
Yeah. I think we ought to get a cannabis. This lady was looking to move in the spring. This cannabis thing. Okay, so,
And we're just piggybacking it on what we gotta do for the school anyway.
yeah, the school's having a referendum that's,
Yeah, but that's a referendum that you can come and vote, but it's not a special town meeting.
well, we'll have a referendum. Our special town meeting will be the referendum, isn't that what you just said? It'll be a written ballot.
You can have a written ballot without it being a town meeting. I guess I'm a little lost as to why you're having a special town meeting.
Right?
Yeah.
It has to be a town meeting. For the people to vote on this ballot, it has to be a town meeting, a special town meeting. You
The
can't
school
put a-
budget?
Huh?
For the school budget?
No, it's not the school budget. We will have one along with the school.
We'll have a ballot, the school will have a ballot.
Right.
Right. But I think what you're saying is you have to open a meeting
You have to open
to
a
allow
special
people to
town
come
meeting.
and vote. Yes.
Right. There's one article, or well, there'll be 2 or 3
Right.
to vote on the ballot, just
Right.
like when you vote for selectmen.
You didn't do that in the past. This is something new that's changed? I mean, we've always voted on the school budget, but we didn't have a special town meeting.
But this isn't a budget, they're asking to go get a bond, a loan.
It's 2 different things that's gonna happen on the same day. The school's gonna have a referendum, and the town's gonna have a special town meeting referendum vote.
Okay, so,
Under the rescue truck is gonna come under that too?
yes. Okay, so we're gonna meet Wednesday at 8 AM to review these and accept them, okay? Policies.
Should we ask Chris if he's? if
Oh,
the
I'm
truck's
sorry.
still-
I'm sorry, I'm a little
Okay.
ahead of myself tonight.
Is that still on the
Do you
table?
wanna
Yes.
update us that? on that?
There's no real update. I was updated with this February 6th deadline today.
Okay.
But I'm still working with vendors on bringing something together. But we were more thinking with a June deadline, but now it's February 6th, but that shouldn't be a problem.
We can do June. with
No,
you.
I don't want to do June. I'm just saying
Yeah.
the information is not immediately available tonight because I was just.
Okay, all
updated
right,
today.
okay.
How is that truck gonna pass inspection?
I'm not sure.
Find out tomorrow.
That's my honest answer, sir. I don't know. I don't think it will.
You don't think it will?
No. There are new problems that have come up with it since it was last seen.
Just
There's
that
some-
last problem would keep it from being inspected.
Right.
Was it the seatbelts?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And the seatbelts were replaced and they are broken again.
They don't?
I'm not 100% comfortable keeping any service despite the inspection. I think it's a great safety concern that all my crew's aware of it. They don't have to take the truck if they don't want to. It's completely optional for whether or not they want to drive it with the seatbelts in the way, the condition that they
Well,
are.
seatbelts are a law,
Right.
yeah.
I mean, you can buckle, it can be buckled, but the retraction is, mechanism is not working, which was the same problem that we had before. And it also has some other weird noise it has now, and as well as shuddering when you're driving it. So, yeah, I don't believe it will pass inspection. But I'm not a commercial inspector, I'm not a, inspector at all, I'm not a mechanic, so I can't say for certain.
Okay. All right. Guys wanna move on to policies now? Okay. I read like 2 of these. Are we supposed to be fine tuning them, or just?
Those are the same exact ones that you passed last year.
Okay, good. 'Cause I-
So let's get rid of them.
Okay, so let's vote on them?
Yes.
Wonderful. I'll make a motion that we accept the policies for the 2017-18 calendar year,
Second.
fiscal year. All in favor? Okay, so we've accepted the policies, wonderful. And the last one is abatements.
Yeah, I gave you a copy of them.
Right.
We have one for Dish Network for $9.09.
Right.
Mark Levitt, for $80.65. And Jennifer Johnson for $413.79. And Roger Ward for $72.71.
I'm comfortable with these abatements.
I have a question though, like that Dish Network one, that was a mismailing, or the land is in the different community, or?
This is actually, they pay for, it's not land, it's like personal property of sorts. It's like Bengal Hydro pays for the lines to go through,
Yeah.
so Dish Network pays.
Yeah.
So, but they had a reassessment done by their people, and it's $600 difference, so they wanted an abatement.
Okay. Do you want me to read them off and just make a motion to accept them?
You can read them off and accept them.
Okay, I'll just read them off and.
These are the signable ones.
Okay, so there's a
sign
abatement
the
for
back
Roger
one.
Ward
Back of the
for
yellow.
$72.71. Jennifer Johnson, Miles Road for $413.79. Mark Levitt for $80.65. And for Dish Network for $9.09. I make a motion that we accept the abatements as read.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. How about, you want to give us, this isn't on the agenda, but you want to give us an update?
That's
on
just
this
an
little-
informational thing. We're not gonna be with them for
Right,
very much longer, but I figured I'd let you know
okay.
you got it, and I would, it's just
That's
the
a
news.
big building, that's a really big building.
So, and I can update you on the old town hall. It's gone.
It's gone?
It's gone.
Okay.
I was hoping to see Scott here tonight, get on maybe cleaning that up and
I was
stuff.
gonna say, 'cause
Probably gonna have to wait till spring now, but,
I was afraid that stuff would freeze in and then.
yeah. And the building inspection committee, Chris can probably give you more information on that. They had a little bit of confusion. One of the members,
We weren't confused, were we?
one of the members didn't show up, went to the planning board instead. Didn't realize it was the wrong meeting. I guess you said that there was recommendations made for more members.
There were some, the group felt that there were 3 in attendance that night. Another one couldn't make that meeting, but it's gonna make the next meetings. And the person you just spoke about, so that brings it up to 5. But the group that was there felt very strongly that there ought to be more people involved with the committee, and maybe a wider spread of function in the town, rather than have just first responders or builders or that sort of thing.
Okay.
They also felt strongly that even the chairman on the committee ought not to be a first responder or a builder. More for, they're very concerned about appearances.
Right.
So we agreed, the group agreed to meet again, provided we could get some additional people, I think December 13th, right?
I believe that is right.
How many additional people do you need, are you looking for?
2.
Just 2?
Chris is gonna call one.
Okay.
You
You know who I just have a suggestion off the top of my head. Is Jen Bartlett on that committee? Has anybody called Jen Bartlett?
I did.
She said no?
She thought it possibly could be a conflict with her job.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, probably.
That's true.
Who's on the committee now? Do you have-
It was, there's Chris, Ralph, Buddy Belcher, Dwight Miller,
Austin.
and Austin Toothaker.
And Chris is gonna email Aaron Dumont,
Okay.
so
Okay.
we're still trying one more person.
Okay. All right. I'll let you guys go for that. That is it for the meeting. Is there anything else now?
Not that I know of.
Hey,
You all set?
I said, I'm all set.
You're all set? Okay. So we're meeting Wednesday morning. the
Wednesday the 6th at 8 a.m.
Yeah, this
So you're
Wednesday.
gonna recess this and
Okay,
not adjourn, recess.
all right. So let's make a motion. So I should make a motion to recess. It is 6:55. I make a motion that we recess to reconvene Wednesday morning, December 6th at 8 a.m.
Second?
Second, all in favor? Got it. Okay, we have recessed.